everybody, welcome to episode number 79 here on season number 2. And today we are getting into what are the top 3 bonds on Stash Invest. This question comes from Tim Miller, and he asked, what's your top 3 bonds to invest in on Stash? And Amazon is looking great for the future. Is it a buy? I'm not going to really get into Amazon. I'm going to save that for another episode, but I wanted to get into my top 3 favorite bonds on Stash. These videos are meant for educational purposes only and not meant to be taken as financial advice. You are responsible for your assets and to protect them, so always do your own research. So there's 5 bond type ETFs that are on Stash Retire. You're going to have the conservative mix, you're going to have Park My Cash, Public Works, Uncle Sam, and Slow and Steady. Each one of these is going to pay a different dividend and then have also an expense ratio, so a percent that they charge for holding that ETF. For the conservative mix, you're looking at a 2.05 dividend payout plus a 0.25 expense ratio. Park My Cash is a 1.64 dividend with a 0.35. Public Works is 2.3 with a 0.25. Slow and Steady 2.07 plus a 2.5, and then Uncle Sam, which is a 1.74 plus a 0.07. And you're like, okay, those numbers mean nothing. Like, what's your favorite? Who cares about the numbers? So for me, I personally like Park My Cash the most. It's not because that it has good growth. It's not that because it has good dividend payouts. It's really, honestly, probably the worst performing one because it literally is just that. It's literally a park for your cash. Well, it's more like a parking spot for your cash. Basically, all you do is you put the money in there and it pretty much is going to stay steady. It's not going to fluctuate. It's not going to be very volatile at all. Like over the last, since inception, I think it's done like maybe like 3%, actually even less. I think it's done like 1, maybe even 2%, a little bit less, probably even 1%. So it's really going to be a park for your cash. Parking spot, my bad. What that does for me is the way that I run my account is based upon percentages. And so if, for instance, one of my big ETFs like Delicious Dividend drops by, say, 3%, I can sell some of my holdings in Park My Cash and move that over into Delicious Dividends, thus buying it maybe at a lower price while still keeping my bonds maybe at, like, say, the same percentage of like 25% or something like that. That's why I am using Park My Cash. It's not because I expect to get like a great return from it. It's just literally to keep 25% of my cash there and safe for when I want it to buy different ETFs. However, if you're like, okay, well, I'm not running my portfolio like that and I don't really care, what like is a good ETF that I could like turn on auto stash and really see some, decent growth? I think Public Works would be the best bet if I was going to go that route because it does pay the biggest dividend. And then also those dividends, the payouts, the profits that you make off that are not taxed at the federal level. So they're only state income tax. They're not federal income tax, which I think is awesome because it really does secure a lot more profit than any other bond ETF that's on Stash. Also, with my third wild card would be Uncle Sam. And it's not because I like it for the returns, but U.S. Treasury bonds are going to be a very safe investment. And actually, a lot of big long-term value investors actually recommend holding a percent into these U.S. Treasury bonds to keep some of it protected, just about 10% or so. And that way you can buy on these dips that do happen in the market. And they are going to be a lot safer than a corporate bond because corporations do fluctuate. For instance, when a correction does happen, some could go out of business or so, but pretty much the US is going to be here for a long time. If you're looking for just like an all-around good growth bond ETF, the conservative mix is good. I really like it. However, it does expose you to some equity, so it's not like a solely bond ETF. It has 80% bonds, 20% equities. And so if you're looking for something that's going to be very conservative, maybe to add to an aggressive portfolio to really try to capitalize on some growth while still exposing yourself to some bonds, I think that the conservative mix would be a great one for that. I mean, really, honestly, it's really up to you on which bond you want to add. All of them that Stash offers are going to be extremely safe and well, and Stash does a great job at doing research on the ETFs before they add them to the platform. So pretty much pick one and it should be a decent way to secure a lot of your assets. However, you're like, how much should I put in there? What I would do is I would ask myself if I was to wake up and 5 days from now, because the market continues to drop and my account sits at 25 to 40% lower than what it was right now, would I be okay with that? And how would I actually like stomach it? How would I emotionally handle that? And if you're like, it would just not be a good thing, then you need to expose yourself into some bonds, to be honest. It's going to decrease the volatility on your account, which means limit the growth, but also limit the decrease or limit the negative aspect that can come with the fluctuations in the market. Also, it's going to preserve some of your capital as well. And the way I look at it is like, okay, well, maybe if it dropped, only 20% on that account, would you continue making those regular deposits, dollar cost averaging down, and so on and so forth? And if the answer is yes at 20%, then that's what you should expose yourself to make that capable of happening, basically. I mean, I think even exposing yourself to bonds at the 5% level still makes sense if that's all you can do, or if that's the only amount of like exposure you want. I think it still makes sense and still a necessity. That's what I would add to my account. Now let's go ahead and dive into the question of the day, which is, what song do you feel compelled to sing along with when you hear them, even if you don't totally know the word? For me, I don't know a whole lot of like song titles, so I would do like a sing along right now, but mostly like Bruno Mars songs, I guess, like 24 Karat. And then also there's another song that always pops into my head. It's like, ooh, I'm a rebel, just forget you. And that's how I sing, but just don't judge me, okay? Anyways, like I always say, if you got any questions regarding Stash, Acorns, Robinhood, as well as general investing advice, business IT coaching, post those questions down below. Don't forget to subscribe up here and check out my Stash Recap February edition. Check out the video right here. And as always, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.